Okay, here we go. Here's my video about the FM3 plus 6. That equals 9, doesn't it? Anyway, yesterday you would have probably seen that there's been this fairly surprise announcement to me about the FM9, which essentially is getting you the FM3 with the FC6, but the added twist is it's double the power of the FM3. Cliff has said that the FM3 is roughly sort of 25% of the processing power of an AXFX3, and that the FM9 will be roughly 50%. So that leaves me to question what is going to happen with the AXFX3 going forward, because it seems like there's still quite a lot of potential to use a lot of that CPU, memory, all that stuff, given that the FM9, if you look at the comparison chart, can basically do quite a lot of the key things that the AXFX3 can do, with some notable exceptions: the vocoder, the real-time analysis, a couple of delay blocks. I think there might be 2 extra delay blocks in the AXFX3, 1 extra drive block. But it does seem that if you were saying that the FM9 has 50% of the processing power, then the future for the AXFX3 with its Keystone chips looks fairly bright. I've got a gig this evening, and I did tell you the other week that I'd use the FM3 for the first time on a gig. I do have an FC6, so I wanted to experiment with this. So the way that I'm running this is my normal gigging preset, which has toggling scenes here. So I can toggle between 2 lead tones, 2 rhythm tones, and 2 clean tones, one with a delay. But what I decided to do was add on this side the effects view, but also add in this tap tempo tuner. So I can tap tempo in, which is very useful for me, and then I can hold it for a tuner if I need to, and that also acts as like a mute switch, which is super useful. And this is leading me to think that with this super flexible kind of foot switching layout, that the FM9 is definitely going to be a big win for a lot of people in the Fractal world. I know there are quite a few people that are running their FM3s like this with the FC6, but it does lead me to question, are you one of the people that's just got an FM3 with an FC6? You know, in that case, I think probably you'd be a little bit like, oh, I wish I'd known about this. I guess that's kind of part of the difficulty of being part of this modeling world, you know, where the next thing is always going to be a little bit better than the thing before, or that seems to be the case anyway. Then also, you know, you've got questions like, do I need my AXFX3 now? Because for me personally, I don't really generally find that I run out of the processing power on the FM3 too much. It might be nice to have some dual amp blocks, but aside from that, it's not like I am going in there and finding, oh, I can't do what I want to with the FM3. So if you told me you could have double the processing power of the FM3, I'd be thinking, well, that's plenty for anyone. And then that leads me to think, well, then the AXFX3 is sort of overpowered for the job that it's doing in many ways, and you'd also need a foot switch with it, so it would end up being quite a lot more expensive than the FM9. So it's an interesting product, I think. It's cool to see some demos. I know Leon Todd's got one, friend of the channel. Shout out to Leon. So go check out his demo. Have you been gigging like this, and will you be grabbing the FM9 when it's available? Or are you happy with the FM3 as it is? I do think that as a gigging kind of thing is tiny but also super powerful. That is obviously sort of roughly twice the size, twice the weight, but also having the effects there, or whatever layout you choose to use, or you could go, you know, go to the looper if you had one in the preset. You know, it's super flexible, and I do really like being able to switch between these in this way. I think it's really useful. As I say, I'm on the effects mode. I'll try gigging this exact setup tonight into the power cab, and I'll see, you know, does this add enough to warrant me taking it out? You know, when you just take this by itself, I guess it's an extra kind of 6 buttons that are useful for sure. Whether you want to take up this much of the stage or not, I guess it's probably about the same as like a Helix, or certainly not massive, but a bit bulkier than something like the Quad Cortex or like the FM3 just by itself. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that FM9. Are you looking forward to seeing more videos with one? Do you think it's gonna sort of wipe out some sales from the FM3 in the AXFX3 world? Do you like the idea of the product? Are you disappointed because you just bought an FM3 and FC6? It'd be interesting to know some thoughts about it. And I'll catch you in another video soon. That preset that I'm using in the intro, I think it's already in the folder. If you want to try it, use the Buy Me a Coffee link. I'll catch you in another video soon. and yeah, it'd be exciting to see where this FM9 stuff goes. I think it's also kind of shone a light on the kind of upwards potential of the Active X3, given that the FM9 can do most of what the Active X3 can do with half the processing power roughly. It's interesting to think maybe there's, you know, quite a bright future for the Active X3. Catch you in another video soon. Cheers.